Hey, Tanner James, DJ TJ. Welcome back to the Peak Period Podcast, episode 16. Episode 16. Really appreciate you tuning in, you listening to this podcast. Again, it's crazy. We're growing, and I really appreciate everybody who listens, everybody who wants to grow, everyone who wants to invest in themselves, and who is, excited to learn. That is really something that's important, and investing in yourself. Today, I kind of want to talk about something that I feel like a lot of DJs don't talk about. I recently got off a call with a DJ, and we were talking. It was a coaching call, and we were talking about him and what he wants to do, where he wants to go, that kind of stuff. And he was talking about like buying some new gear, and he wanted, I think, to buy some uplights and a gobo projector. And I said, "Hey, that's awesome. I love my uplights. I love my gobo projector. Here's the thing: how many clients contact you for that?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know, but I think I could upsell them." And I said, "Here's the issue. If you go out and buy gear, but don't have any clients that are willing to pay you for it, you may not sell that." And he was kind of like, "Well, no, but I could do that." I'm like, "Well, here's the thing. We all think that until the clients don't want it. And then you're stuck with this gear that's losing money." So I call this whole concept sell before you buy. Okay, so it's kind of weird and it doesn't make sense at first. But once you understand why it's happening, it really does make sense. So sell before you buy. I'm not talking about selling the gear before you buy it. I'm talking about sell it to a client. So let's say you want to get a gobo projector. You want to start offering a gobo projector or uplighting or trussing or whatever it is. What you're going to do, instead of buying this gear, testing it out, and then going to the client and saying, "Hey, would you like to buy this piece of gear, or would you like to have this extra service at your wedding or, whatever it is at your event?" What you should be doing is selling the gear before you actually go buy it. This is the thing that we as DJs face. These companies, these product companies, are really good at marketing, and they make it seem like you can't be successful without their piece of gear. You can't be a successful DJ without the brand new mixer. You can't be successful without this brand new light, and you need it, and this light's $2,000 each, and you need it. They're really good at marketing. They are extremely good at marketing. The issue is that that's not true at all, okay? I mean, that's just not true. I always talk about, I started off on the smallest Pioneer controller that you could find, and you could still buy. It's still like one of the smallest ones. Until I was working every single weekend and I could actually start making money. The reason for that was that I was investing in new gear, in better speakers, and real quality speakers, and better cables, and better lighting and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't spending it on a new mixer. I could have been, but I wasn't, because I knew that what was gonna make me money was a nice speakers, or a nice quality wireless microphone that doesn't drop out, and that kind of stuff, because that's what people notice. They don't care about your mixer, they don't care about your laptop, they care about your what they get. What do they get? They get good sound quality, they get a microphone that doesn't drop out, that kind of stuff. So that is really what I kind of did. But really what is important is that here, think of this, and this has happened to me, and I'll give you the exact example. I wanted a CO2 cannon. I thought CO2 cannons were absolutely awesome, right? So they do, like, there are some different brands, but you connect the gun and hose to a CO2 tank, and you spray it out, and it sprays out a plume of kind of, it's not smoke, but that's kind of the effect. It's super cold, so it cools the crowd off. It's really cool. That's all good. The issue with it is that when I bought it, I didn't have the clients to pay for it. So it was, I think, a $700 or $800 investment for the gun and the CO2 tank and the CO2 and all this kind of stuff. And then I realized that nobody wanted it. Nobody cared about it, because the events I was doing weren't wanting it. They were events with Sweet 16s or kind of like backyard house parties, because this is when I was starting out. They didn't want that upgrade. So I'm going to them saying, hey, would you like the CO2 cannon? It does this, X, Y, and Z. It's really cool. I wasn't the best at sales back then either. But, I'm talking to them and I'm showing them pictures. And they're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, I don't think we'll need that. So that was kind of the issue is I have this really cool thing and I want them to check it out, but I can't, they don't want it. So what do? And there's nothing to do. You either sell it or you don't. And if you don't, then it sits in storage, losing money every single day. So the longer you wait, the more it just loses money. So if you have, 15 uplights, 16 uplights that you can't sell, they're just stuck in storage, just waiting. And slowly but surely they are becoming more and more outdated, where they're not worth as much as they used to be. So you can't even sell them at a better price. And if you're not using them, then they just sit in storage. Well, what do? That is why this whole sell before you buy principle is absolutely amazing. I live by this. I don't buy anything before I need it. So let's say I don't have trust and the client wants trust. Or I sell the client trust, right? Not that maybe they didn't come and request it, but I went to them and said, hey, look, I want you to check this out. And they're like, oh my gosh, that looks great. And then they go for it. When they go for it and they give me a contract that says, yes, we want that and we're going to pay for it, then I'll go out and buy the truss. Does that make sense? So I sell it to the client before I go and buy it. And if you want a gobo projector, go out, sell it to a client first, where you will have money coming in, and then go buy the gobo projector. But don't go buy the gobo projector before you actually have any clients, because what if the clients don't like it? This is basically a proof of concept. And for those of you that don't know what the proof of concept is, a proof of concept is just basically that there's actually a market for what you want to buy. So when people come up with a product, right, they have product X and they think it's the best, but nobody actually wants that. Well, what do you like? There's no proof of concept. But when people actually start buying it and they're like, oh, wow, I like this, and they refer it to their friends, that's proof of concept. It means that people actually like what you have. It's the proof of your concept. It's actually coming together and it's working and people like it and people are buying it. So when you go out and you buy a gobo projector and you think that people are going to buy it and then they don't, it's not proving your concept. It's not your concept is not being proven. Now, usually when I tell DJs this, I get two responses, one of two or three. One, the first one is like, wow, that's amazing. That's smart. The second one is like, okay, well, what if like, yeah, the client wants it, but then I don't have the money for it to buy it, like what if, it costs $400, but I don't have the $400 to buy it. Here's the flip side to that. What were you going to do to buy it before? If you want to buy it right now and it's $400, what are you going to do with that? Like are you going to put on a credit card and then wait until you start getting money to come in and pay it off? So that kind of that logic is flawed, because either way, if you don't have the money for it, you're going to have to buy it. And you might as well wait until at least you have money coming in, at least you have 100 or 200 profit dollars coming in, then you're good. So that's something that is, really important. And so I get the point, but it doesn't really make sense. So we have to take that side out of the equation. The other one is kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I get it. That makes sense. But what if I don't have time to practice with the gear? Or what if the gear doesn't come in time? Here's the thing with this. Number one, if it doesn't come in time, I mean, shipping is super cheap now. So, it comes super fast. So, and it's cheap to get even faster. So, really, that doesn't work. That excuse doesn't work, because either way, like how far out are you booking events? I mean, I'm booking events out 6 months minimum for most of them. So, that doesn't necessarily work. But it is what it is. And if you're worried about not practicing with it, and you need some extra practice time, again, how far out is this event? Even if it's a month out and you buy it, you'll get it in less than a week, and then you have 3 weeks to practice with it. So that's kind of the thing that I see. Here's the issue. If you go into debt, or you buy this product and you are, out hundreds of dollars, and then you can't sell it, you're only going to get annoyed. And then what you're going to do, trust me, this is what you're going to do. You're going to start offering that for a lot cheaper. So maybe it's a Gobo projector and normally you would charge $250, but now you're willing to do it for $150 because you just want money coming in. And then you'll do it for $100 and you'll make $20 off of it on an $80 Gobo just to have money coming in. That is really, that's what happens because you get desperate and you just want money coming in. And that's not the way to do it. So, it is what it is. But the thing is don't do that. Don't buy it. Wait until you have at least one buyer who's like, yeah, I'd love to buy that, and then go buy it. But it happens time and time again. I'm kind of doing this right now. I have, I have a lot of trussing, but I don't go out and buy more until I need it. Because if I do that, then I'm just having money that isn't in, I'm losing money that I could have for other investments right now. So what I mean by that is there's a thing called opportunity cost. Basically what it means is when you choose to do one thing, you are basically losing out on another thing. So let's say you have $1,000 to spend. You have a couple options. You can either buy some trussing, or you can go out and buy some new speakers, or you can invest that money into a good wireless microphone. So what are your three options? What do you want to do? If you spend that money on truss, but then you actually need a microphone, now you're kind of screwed, right? Now you're stuck. You're in a really tough situation. So you gotta think about that. So yes, I could go out and buy the truss, but I'm gonna wait until I have a client who's gonna pay me that money. Like I'm gonna wait until I have a signed contract that they're gonna pay me this amount of money, and then once I get that, then I'll go spend that money on the truss. But what if, and this has happened to me, I have this, but I need to go get this other piece of gear, so now I need to use that money. But if I would have spent that money on truss, I wouldn't have that money. So that's really important. Thinking about what you have, and what you need. What you could possibly need to buy, what would it be? Maybe it's a Dancing on the Cloud effect and you really want this thing, but a client's willing to pay you for a Gobo projector, but you already bought this thing and you're like, well, I can't give you the Gobo projector, but I can get you this. See, that's where that issue comes in. And if your issue is that you are worried about practicing with the new gear, there are so many videos and you can have multiple weeks to practice with it. Don't worry about that. Worry about selling it to a client and getting the client to want to buy this item. Again, it's only going to put pressure on you, and then it's only going to make things worse, and then you're going to get desperate. So look at the DJs who are good, but they aren't good with sales. And the issue with that is that then they just want money coming in because they have expenses, right? We have expenses. If they have insurance, they have that kind of thing. If they, you invest money in speakers and your mixer and your laptop and music and all of the business related expenses that you incur, you start getting desperate if you don't have work. So then you start going out for a lot less than normal, and then it's a downward spiral, and you don't want that. So definitely one of the important things is not to be in that situation. So again, it just comes back to sell before you buy. Sell the product to somebody before you go buy it. And literally, I've done this almost my whole entire DJ business career. As I started with this whole thing, oh yeah, well, I'll wait to buy lighting until I have a client who's going to pay me for it. Because why buy lighting if I'm not gonna have a need for it? Wait until I need it, and then I'll go buy it. And then, and some things are an exception. You need headphones, you need a microphone, you need a mixer, and you need at least some decent speakers. But the main thing is that you don't go out and buy these extra additional upgrades that won't be needed. So yeah, again, when I was starting out, I waited to buy. I had a few packages. I had a basic, I had one with some dance floor lighting, and then I had one with like some overhead that I-beam black truss, and what's the other one, and a facade, a glow facade. Well, I'm selling the lighting to people, and they're like, sure, we love lighting. I'm like, awesome. I don't have lighting, but I'll figure it out. I have 2 months before this event. I have 6 weeks before this event. I'll figure it out. I'll go out and buy lighting. Worst comes to worst, I'll go to Guitar Center and pay twice as much and get the get the lighting. But like that's kind of the thing. Commit, sell it, and then figure it out, because you can figure it out. That's not the issue. The issue is getting it actually in the hands of your customers, getting the customers to agree to this upgrade. So that's kind of one of those things. So I'm selling this package to people, and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Okay, let's do it. I'm like, awesome. I'm explaining it because I don't have pictures of it, and I didn't go on Google to search it. And I'm like, yeah, so it's like it's overhead and it goes up and it's really cool and it's black, and like so bad, so exactly how you're not supposed to sell things. But it worked. And so then I get a client who's like, yeah, let's do that one. I like that idea. Let's do that. And then from there, I bring it in and I go out and buy it. I figure it out. I buy the facade, and I get the lighting, and then I have that gig. So, that is how I've run my career, except for the CO2 cannon. That was one of the mistakes that I made that didn't work. But, buying a gobo projector, uplighting, every kind of thing like that, additional truss, moving heads. I didn't buy moving heads until I needed it. So, that's one of those things. I needed multiple CO2 cannons. And so I didn't buy it until I needed it. I knew it was gonna happen at one time, but I didn't buy it before I needed it. I bought it when I needed it. And I think we know we need to do this, but we don't. And it's so easy to be like, oh, I need that new light. I need that. I need this, whatever. And that's just not exactly the way it goes. So, it's hard because we live in a day and age with the marketing, and it's so good and it's so powerful, and we see the gear and we're like, oh my gosh, we need it. But the truth is that a lot of people may put things on credit when that's not what they need. You may want this piece of gear, but will you actually make money? Possibly not. So when you go and you actually sell it before you go buy it, you are proving that somebody in this industry wants it. Somebody in your market wants it. And that is really important. Or else you'll end up like me with a CO2 cannon that nobody wants to buy. It sucks, but I learned from it. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to buy things until I have a client who's going to pay for it. Not clients that want it, but clients that are going to pay for it. Because I've had a lot of clients who are like way back, they're like, yeah, we'd like some uplighting. I'm like, awesome, this is how much it is. I think like $300 or $400. And they're like, oh, okay, that's okay, we don't need it. Okay, so why would I go buy uplighting if they don't want it, right? Just because the want is out there doesn't mean that they're actually willing to pay for it. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing. Yeah, there may be a lot of people out there who would like a photo booth, but that doesn't mean that they're actually going to pay for it. And that doesn't mean that they actually care about quality enough to hire you over a cheaper photo booth. Or this is super popular. It started really emerging in the last few years, but the do-it-yourself photo booths, they get a little design thing. They get like some flowy stuff from the party store, like the stuff that you walk through, like when at parties when they hang on top of door frames, and like it flows down kind of like whatever ribbon kind of things, and you like walk through it or something. I don't know, but those kinds of things, like they just put that up. They get like if it's a birthday, they get a happy birthday thing, or just married or whatever it is. They go buy some props, and now they have their own photo booth. When people come up with their phones, they take pictures on their phones instead of a professional photo with the print. And they have their photo booth for less than like $20. And I actually had one client where the brother like just had a nice camera, and so he tethered it to his laptop, so he had it connected, so he could actually look on his laptop, he would have like the viewfinder of the camera on his laptop. He could click a button, it would take the picture, and then he could actually print it out on a piece of photo paper. So he was not a photo booth guy. He was just like a brother who kind of figured it out. And I'm like, man, this is who you're competing with. So that's kind of the other thing that is really important. There's competition, direct competition, which is like, I'm DJ A and that's DJ B and DJ C. I'm A and I'm competing with B and C, right? That's direct competition. Those are your direct competitors. But that's not all. Okay, you have other competitors. You have Spotify. You have my brother can do it. You have iPod DJ. So you and any other kind of apps, I think Serato has one or something that mixes music. You have these other competitors that aren't even close to you. So yeah, it's you. Yeah, it's this guy with more experience and this guy who is older or younger, depending on your age, who can get more work. But you look at who are your other indirect competitors, and those would be no DJ, radio. I'll just turn on the radio. We don't need you for my 60th birthday party, my 40th birthday party, my 25th birthday party. We'll just turn on the radio and dance. We can put on Spotify and listen to our own music. So that's the other side of the coin. Not only your direct competitors, but your indirect. So that's what I'm talking about with the photo booth. Yeah, you can get in this industry and be like, well, there's only 2 other people in my market, in my city, who have photo booths. And, it's really good. Like, the market's great. I need to buy a photo booth so that I can do this. That's cool, but here's the thing, and maybe they charge a ton of money. Maybe they charge $1,500 for a photo booth, and you're like, dude, I could do this for $800 and be happy. I mean, that's maybe what you're looking at. Maybe you're like, dang, this is awesome for me. I'll still make a ton of money. I can not undercut them, but come in lower than them and get more work than that, and get some of the work that is lower end. The issue is maybe that client doesn't want to pay $1,500. Maybe that client doesn't want to pay $800. Maybe that client doesn't even want to pay $300. They'll just do it themselves for $20 at the party store. So that's what you have to figure out. Who is your direct competitors, the $1,500, and who is your indirect, which is I'll do it myself. I don't want to pay anything. I don't want to pay $100. That's more than I expected. I think as DJs, we will get leads from people who are like, hey, I'm having this party. I'm having a 25th birthday party, 30th birthday party. How much are you? But they don't realize how much DJs really are, So they're like, yeah, it'd be awesome. Maybe if it was, $60, I'll hire a DJ, maybe 80, maybe 100 max. And then you come in with a quote that's way over that. And they're like, no, I mean, so it's the same kind of thing. They may want the photo booth. They may genuinely want it. And they may have the money to pay for it as well. They may, I mean, that's the thing. They really may actually have the money to pay for it. But will they? Will they actually cough up the money to pay you hundreds of dollars for the DJ services? Or would they pay hundreds of dollars for a photo booth, even though you're like, well, that guy charges $1,500? Yeah, but that doesn't matter. They weren't going to hire that guy either. Are they going to hire you? That kind of stuff is really important, and you have to look at that when you start looking into venturing into new areas. And you may think it's great. The issue is that guy has to charge $1,500 because he doesn't work that much, and he can only charge $1,500 to so many clients. So he's fighting to keep those clients. That's the issue. So think about things before you actually go do it. I know it's easy to be like, oh, I need this monogram. I need this new thing. It's more powerful. It's better. But think about how this is going to work. Is it really going to work? Some DJs do business plans, and I think that's a great idea. I think you really should. I do. And just plan out the year. What's going to happen this year? Where are you going to go? What markets are you trying to move into? How many events are you going to get? Projections, sales, expenses per year. At least just like a budget at the beginning of the year that says, this is how much I'm guessing I'm going to make, off of maybe last year's and the year before and anything new coming up. Maybe you're going to be gone for 3 weeks over summer. Well, that's going to dampen your income over summer. So you need to plan for that. And then look at your expenses. How much in expenses do you have coming in and going out every single month? And is there anything that, like insurance generally comes once a year? Is there anything that you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that to come? figure all that stuff out, put it in a little budget just so that you see it, and be, okay, well, I'm going to make this much this month, and this month I'm going to make a lot more, but I am going to have my insurance and my business license and my whatever, so I do have to plan for that. And taxes is at this time, so I need to save this much money per month, all that kind of stuff. That is really important. So again, back to the investing, don't invest in gear that you don't know will actually make you money. Be certain that it's going to make you money. And the only way you can do that is to actually have a client who's going to pay for it. Because if you don't do that, I mean, it's not working out. So again, thank you for listening to episode 16 of the Peak Period podcast. Next week, we have a really cool DJ from Canada. He's going to jump on. So that is awesome. Definitely tune in next Thursday. We are on YouTube, iTunes, and you can stream it on our website, djtjtraining.com/podcast. Make sure you hit the social media for DJTJ Training at DJTJ Training, Instagram, Facebook. If you want to hit my personal, it's DJTJ916. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. YouTube, youtube.com/Tanner James, TANNER JAMES. So again, if you could please subscribe to the podcast and on anything, subscribe on YouTube and rate it on iTunes. That really helps us if you can rate it. So definitely do that. Really appreciate you guys listening. I'm really excited that I can contribute to the DJ industry in this way. So again, we will be back next Thursday with the Peak Period podcast with a special guest. So make sure you come check it out. Thanks for listening.